From NBA commentators banding together against the NBA's star player to Zion Williamson adding his weight to his growing list of concerns. Here's how NBA players have reacted to Zion Williamson's weight issue. The New Orleans Pelicans held out a lot of hope when they chose Williamson as their first-round pick for the 2018 NBA draft. To be fair, he was one of the best players we'd seen in a long, long time. Cut to today, and he's still one of the best. But Zion isn't making headlines because of his dominance anymore. Oh no, he's on everyone's radar for another reason, and it's not good. Zion's the subject of controversy in the NBA because of his weight. While he'd never been on the leaner end, the Pelicans game against the Lakers, a semi-final loss by the way, had everyone scrutinizing the New Orleans team. Stephen A. Smith went ahead and concluded that the Pelicans' loss was because of Zion. The famed NBA commentator didn't hold back and went right for the jugular when he called Zion fat. He then went on and said that it looked like the player had just had a buffet. Yep, not something or most things on a buffet menu. The whole buffet. You could tell that Smith was angry at Zion, someone who's supposed to be in peak physical health, letting himself go at only 23. Most of his argument, though, revolved around the fact that LeBron James, someone 15 years older than him, was in peak physical condition, while Zion was left gathering his breath after every step. Smith made a weight comparison that left everyone thinking and wondering if Zion has a problem. It's worth remembering, though, that reports about the Pelicans player refusing to diet and train came out a long time ago. Heading into the game, some people were there to see if any of those reports were true. They were. Williamson might just be one of the heaviest players in the league right now, weighing just shy of 285 pounds. Smiths argued that it was in no way acceptable, especially since LeBron, a veteran in the game, didn't let his age catch up to him as quickly as Zion ballooned his weight. The famed commentator claimed that the Lakers star weighed almost 50 pounds less, and the difference it made on the court showed. Smith claimed that by the time it'd take Zion to get to the free throw line, LeBron would have dropped 30 in 3 quarters. Now, no one's saying that the GOAT isn't capable of that skill, but maybe people are being a little too harsh on Zion. Yep, people. Besides Stephen A. Smith, Austin Rivers also had something to say about the player's weight. Again, nothing good. The star guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves went on Sirius XM radio and made the same comparison between Zion and LeBron. Rivers went a step further and reminded everyone that one of the many reasons why everyone was comparing the two was because Zion was just as hyped up, if not more, than LeBron coming into the NBA. It makes sense. He was a first-draft pick, after all. The Timberwolves guard also suggested that Zion only had himself to blame for all the criticism. He reminded everyone that as an NBA player, Zion has access to the best nutritionists, coaches, and trainers. With all the comments on his weight coming in, you have to wonder, has Zion lost his mojo? It is ironic of Austin to be talking about his weight, by the way, since Zion led his team to victory against the Timberwolves, scoring 36 points for a 121-107 victory against Minnesota. Still, despite putting on his best performance so far, all anyone had to ask Zion afterward was how he'd been handling Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley's criticism on, you guessed it, his weight. It looks like no matter what he does, it all centers back on his physique. Charles Barkley said that it looked like Shaq had a baby. The conversation started with some stats. Zion's been averaging 6 rebounds and 2 double-doubles throughout the season, and Barkley thought he was holding back. The commentator claimed that someone of Zion's size and skill level should be averaging at least 10 rebounds per game. Barkley said that the only reason he wasn't doing as well as he could have was because he didn't run the floor. And Shaq agreed. The NBA legend claimed that Zion only had himself to blame for his comparatively low scores. He said that the player, the one everyone envisioned becoming the greatest of all time, didn't believe that about himself. Williamson addressed some of the comments on his physique. When asked if he'd heard what Shaq and Barkley had to say about him, Zion responded that he had and believed that if they were coming from a place of genuine concern, then he appreciated the advice and would work on it. If they weren't, though, then everyone's just entitled to their own opinion, aren't they? Shannon Sharpe also hopped on the bandwagon and said that Zion's days in the league were numbered. He didn't say it in those exact words, though. Sharpe said that Zion would move left while his gut would move to the right, and as a professional athlete, that was just the beginning of the end. Fans commented on how Zion looked sad and defeated when he addressed the comments simply by saying, "I can't control what a grown man does." While all the sympathies are warranted, especially at a time like right now, it looks like everyone has it out against Zion Williamson. You have to remember that the star player has always struggled with his weight. Going into the NBA, Williamson had always been on the heavier end as far as professional athletes are concerned. Still, everyone believed his weight would drop. What with all those practices, professional chefs, and trainers? Unfortunately, it looks like he's only added more and more pounds. Reports from Pelicans HQ suggest that the star player just doesn't listen. He doesn't listen to his coaches or trainers and is always running away from his weight problem. Now, Zion did own up to one thing: the Pelicans' semi-final loss against the Lakers. There, the player admitted that he had to do better, but he meant his defensive abilities and brushed off any comments made about his physical appearance. Zion's weight has been making headlines for as long as anyone can remember, starting with leaked pictures of the player at fast food joints, almost daily. With their semi-final loss, however, people have gone from making light of the situation to actually becoming concerned about Pelicans' gem's future in the NBA. It doesn't help that his former trainer shaded him too. Yup, maybe the only person who should have an opinion on Zion Williamson's weight is his trainer, or, in this case, his former trainer, right? Well, he did have something to say, but it wasn't positive. Jasper Bibbs used to train Zion some time ago, and he posted a picture of a slimmed-down Zion with the caption, "Remember when?" Obviously, this sent everyone into a frenzy, wondering if Zion had been actively antagonizing people who were helping him, like maybe even firing Jasper. His former trainer suggested that Zion wasn't putting in any of the work and was blaming everyone else but him. He didn't say it in those words. By the way, all he did was post a shrugging emoji underneath a post that suggested the same. It'd be sad to see Zion go, but maybe that's where we're headed now. Maybe the only problem the player has is the fact that he's never been able to play a full NBA season. That's surprising, right? In the 5 years that Zion's been in the league, he hasn't finished a complete season because he's, as everyone's putting it, injury-prone. Also, as one of the most hyped players in history, it's expected that he'd always be in the headlines. What's just caught everyone off guard, though, is the fact that Zion's been in the public eye for his health struggles more than his actual performance. Reports have also emerged, suggesting that the player's not all that happy to be in New Orleans and has been trying to buy in. By the way, that's a direct quote from Zion himself. Not the sort of thing you'd want to hear from the face of the franchise, right? This was back when the Pelicans lost 5 games in a row at the beginning of December 2023. And Zion looked like he wanted to rage quit. His comments made their way back to HQ, and apparently, there was an hour-long meeting between the coaches and players that helped the team just enough to secure 6 consecutive wins afterward. So, maybe Zion's just frustrated with all the comments coming in about his appearance, and that's been something that's holding him back. At least, that's what some of his more sympathetic fans have to say. They've labeled it ironic how, despite still being one of the very best in the league, Zion's only ever made headlines for his weight. They called it fat-shaming, but some of his less sympathetic fans called it a reality check. Stephen Smith said that it was time people stopped holding back and called it as it was. Again, while some people claim Smith was being harsh for no reason, some agreed with everything he had to say. Zion's future in the league is up in the air right now. Maybe because of his weight, and maybe because of his attitude. What do you think? Anyway, from Zion Williamson adding his weight to his growing list of concerns, to NBA commentators banding together against the NBA's star player, that was how NBA players have reacted to Zion Williamson's weight problem.